What's so funny, Mindy Hahn? Good morning, everybody. What's so funny over there?
Oh, nothing at all. Just excited for the day. I'm having a good day so far, other than being a little stuffy.
With the Midwest's premier sports handicapper, Mindy Hahn. I'm Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining us for the morning steam. We've got sports action we're going to cover for Tuesday, and hope everyone's ready to join us. I think I had my time zones wrong on the YouTube time, but we're here now, as we are every day, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. I think I tried to put us at noon or something, but
Oh, geez.
that's okay. Our regulars will tune in, hopefully. Let's get them in here and chat a little bit before everybody, all of our friends, start rolling in here for the show, because we got a big baseball card to talk about today, and certainly still some pennant races, some playoff picture to be decided, and still on Aaron Judge watch. But last night, Mindy, the well, I don't know. The Cowboys did take care of business against the Giants. We were 50-50, I think, what we thought on the game. I think maybe I hit the free, lost the premium. What'd you think of the game last night? Again, another very similar to what we saw on Sunday. A lot of poor play, not great play. Left something to be desired.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately the Cowboys outplayed them, especially that defensive line. I was expecting more Saquon Barkley in that game, and that just didn't really happen. But when they did give him the ball, as you could see, he did run quite well. But again, it was some of those, I think, drop balls, a lot of mistakes more on that Giants side. And maybe that's what we've been more accustomed to over the last couple of years with them, just not being able to make the plays when they needed to. So yeah, it just depends, I think, when you got in on that game, depending on if you got the over under, because it moved around quite a bit there. But if I looked at it when it went off at game time, it looked like it said 38.5. So you might have got to overplay with that, depending on when you made your play.
Well, I hope I didn't oversell you on Cooper Rush. I just thought he'd be adequate enough to lead the team.
Which
And
is true.
well, he outplayed Daniel Jones. There's a lot of question marks going forward, I would think, about Jones in these high-profile games. Yeah, maybe the Giants get more primetime opportunities because they're in New York, but he's one of those quarterbacks right now that's saddled with being the guy who has a poor record in primetime now, kind of like the next Kirk Cousins. So there's going to be questions.
We don't want any more of those.
Well, yeah, and there's going to be, there's definitely going to be questions every time he's in a primetime matchup. And what we're seeing with some of the quarterbacks, just a lack of, being able to make decisions. Maybe sometimes trying to get the ball close to a receiver to throw the ball away. Quarterbacks are eating the ball, taking sacks a lot right now. And I don't know if it's, you don't want to give up the ball. You don't want to turn it over. But, seeing so many situations right now, second and long, third and long, when, I think you could try to throw the ball away somehow. But that's what's putting a lot of these teams in this predicament. All over the league.
Yeah, and that's another thing, because I never officially have played football, but watched a lot. And so, yeah, I don't understand play calling at some points in the game. I think sometimes coaches tend to maybe outthink themselves. Daniel Jones running up the middle, it got them a lot of yards. I know that's not something that you want to do with your quarterback a lot, but just being able to move him around in the pocket. He got sacked when he was dropping back. So obviously they need to perhaps keep a running back in there, or they need to get the ball out of his hands quickly. So again, I'm not sure what the best answer is on that, because I was never in those types of situations. But to me, it seems like with him being so mobile, they should have been able to do more to bootleg him, to get something going a little bit. I also never really understood, you got, 3rd and 4 and you're throwing, 30-yard out routes also.
Well, the Cowboys obviously continue their dominance over the Giants in the seasons, in the all-time series of late. So that was another factor as well. But again, it might have been more about the Giants' inability to get things done than it was about the Cowboys. Maybe they use that familiarity in the division in a place where they continue to beat them, home or away. So maybe that's why the Cowboys were able to, continue to beat the Giants. And yeah, the Cowboys have the playmakers, the bigger players on defense, especially that stood
Yeah,
out.
that new rookie, he was really good too. I liked
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
Noah? Yeah.
So you see, maybe the little bit of a talent disparity still. So even with the Giants, their coach maybe had his worst game so far. He's been a coach that everyone has talked about as being someone who's going to be finally good for the Giants, but not his best night so far this season. So hey, let's go over and take a look at how. Hey, look at who our leader was on the leaderboard last night. None other than our own Mindy
Ta-da.
Hahn. Uh, on the leaderboard last night with a 3-1-1 mark. I've got to see where a tie came in for you there, Mindy. What did you do last night to get these top of the leaderboard?
Well,
Oh,
I
there it
had
is, the Yankees first five, huh?
yes, it was my first 5 innings there. Went with Gosman, and he tied. And then, of course, I did have the Giants.
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
glutton for punishment. I just thought the Giants would be a little bit sharper on offense. You can't be dropping balls the way that they did and such. So that turned me off a little bit. They had been playing, I think, solid, not great, but solid, especially when they could take advantage of a Cowboys team with injuries. But the offensive line did not protect Jones, and then the misfires. So it was kind of an ugly game. I think, Tony talked about that yesterday on the live show. It was probably going to be pretty ugly, and it kind of wound up being pretty ugly. Cowboys were able to hit their spots and come through when they needed it.
and you had the Orioles. I went with the Red Sox on the show, got rocked there, but the Orioles definitely do the job. They're still alive. They're still alive. Come on, Orioles, we're pulling for you. And also, you come through with Atlanta in the first 5 and the Bucks.
Yeah, I know you guys were against me on that one too.
Well, I just don't like a price like that, but they certainly did the job there. In a couple of also rans meeting there. So, good job, Mindy. Good day yesterday for you. And also, did we
Look at
have
us.
a winner in the morning steam? Also, our consensus play came through yesterday as well. If you ever miss our consensus plays here, you can pick them up. It was the over in Baltimore and Boston, and I think we won that
Did it
like
cover, Ramon? Did it go over?
in third inning. I think I was able to.
Right.
There was a delay in there, but it was already like 7 runs scored in the first inning and a half or 2 innings or something like that. So again, you're here for our free picks. You don't need to check them out, but if you miss the show, you can always go over and get our morning steam consensus plays. These are the plays that Mindy and I agree on every day. And well, I'm thinking with a big card today, we might find several consensus plays. The GM also with a 2-1 mark. Let's just check in with him and see what's going on. Yesterday, as he also, he was with me with the Reds, but he had that over also and comes through with the Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
All right, you can always go over to Tony'sPicks.com and use that promo code TonyT at checkout. Click on the All Cappers tab and find the handicapper of your choice. You can follow along on the handicapper leaderboards. I show you there how to scroll down and check the pick history. We're all documented here. Nothing we can do, Mindy, once those plays are in. We
And
are
we can't even
locked
delete
in.
them once they go in. Like once we make our pick, that's it. We got it. It's in there.
So you can subscribe to the picks. You can get individual packages on a daily basis. I saw you already had something up. It looked like for today,
a best
if
bet
I'm
in there.
not
Yep.
mistaken, right?
Yep.
Got your Major League Baseball pack there. This is going to be a best bet today in Major League Baseball, and it's for $15. So discount best bet. No other way to get involved with Mindy Hahn's picks over there at Tony'sPicks.com. Today we'll cover Major League Baseball, 15-game card, standard card, but we're also going to touch on college football from Thursday's game with Utah State and BYU, and also Friday's games, 5 games in college football that we'll preview here today. So we want to hear from you. We see people are starting to file in, so we want to hear from you in the comments. Your picks.
Yeah, it's fun.
Anything
Do it.
yeah,
Don't be
questions.
shy.
I'm shy, but
You
I
are
will
not
respond
shy.
to the comments, and we'll get into Major League Baseball, talk about the games that are important and the games that aren't important, because this is a sports betting show, and there's always money to be made, possibly in those games as well. And here's our first.
There we go. The three
the Three
amigos.
Amigos. Yes, Mindy, myself, and you, Three Amigos. And we're all here, sports betting fam.
I don't remember the three amigos. What is it? Something like the
I think
Macarena.
you're doing the Macarena there.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get rolling. Thank you for being the first commenter, Three Amigos. Maybe our friend there, Mindy, your friend right there. You see the avatar. Maybe that's our third amigo.
That's right.
This is a dog that watches the show and can type on his keyboard. Appreciate
I
you.
have 3 of them sitting below me right now. So hopefully they remain good throughout the show.
We're going to head on over to the rapid fire free picks and get started with this big card. Let's take a look at it. All right.
All right. Free picks. Rapid fire. Ready to go.
Promote it, Minnie. Promote it while I try to catch up here. Hey, all right. Here's Crush Diamonds in here. Victor's here.
That's right. Catch Rock Diamond.
Yeah, we watched the game. We just talked about it. And I did give out Dallas as the free play, but I did think it would go over. I also thought it would be ugly, but I thought that point drop was going to be significant enough. And yeah, I think we all expected a little bit more from the Giants. If we could have got a little bit more, I might have got there on my premium, but I didn't. But I did give out the Cowboys, so that's fine. Okay, let's get into it. Appreciate everybody in the chat. And let's start off with a good pitching matchup, maybe the featured matchup of the day with Tampa Bay and Cleveland. Mindy, Kluber and Bieber. This one, interestingly, has moved lower now to 6.5 over 15. I think that's a pretty significant move. Obviously, like I said, with two near elite pitchers, two of the best in the game, certainly, even if they're up and down a little bit at times this season. 2 guys that you'd kind of count on in your rotation here. And Cleveland earns the favoritism now. I'm showing this one as low as $1.40 now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's going to come down to if it's going to be, since the Guardians have clinched, are they going to have a letdown spot here or not? But kind of how I see it is, I don't know, can you fade Bieber though? I mean, out of, all of the places that you're wondering if a team is going to have a letdown. He's been pretty dominant. Kluber, he's also been pretty excellent this year. Tampa Bay is 12-3 in the last 15 games versus Cleveland. To me, it's kind of hard to decide that pitching matchup there. I'm going to look at the total. I'm going to say over in this one. My modeling has this one actually pretty high at 7.91 and over that 6.5. So I kind of like where this sits, even though I think it's going to be a pitching duel, that I think sometimes maybe doesn't score a lot of runs, but I'm still going to stick with my system. I'm going to be where we're at. I'm going to take the model 7.91 going over.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that this one did have a lot of openers around 7. So you're getting the best of the number there with the move to the 6.5. I mean, they're definitely opened, mostly 7 under. I would say most people would agree with that. For me, Kluber, you talk about, yes, both pitchers, and I talk about the ups and downs, but right now Kluber's on a down, right? Isn't he, with a 7.5 ERA over his last 3 starts, while Bieber has been very, very solid over his last few starts as well. He's got a 1.64 ERA in his last 3 starts, and they've won all three of them for Cleveland. So that's where I'm going to go, Mindy, especially now that I see it, like I said, $1.40, maybe $1.45. It's a square books. The move has been slightly to Tampa Bay. I'm not too worried about that. My free pick will be on Cleveland. All right, that blockbuster matchup everybody wants to bet on. They played yesterday. Everybody was in it thinking it was the game of the year, and Major League, with only 4 games, we had to we had to go somewhere. But they're going to come back today with Green and Keller. I'm showing this one. Yes, Keller the slight favorite, maybe $1.15 and 7/15. I think that number is pretty solid right now.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter Green, we talked about him a lot. I think he's been pitching, pretty well for the most part here, but still not really winning. He's still sitting at that 4.94 ERA, but only allowed 1 run in his last outing there versus Pittsburgh. Keller, on the other hand, he's been, pretty great this month with a 1.80 ERA. But against the Reds, he's actually, 1-4 with a 7.37 ERA. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati here. I'm going to buck my trend of those Pittsburgh Pirates beating the Reds. Let's go Cincy in this one.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, Green has been super solid, right? I mean, 1.06 ERA in his last 3 starts. Keller also pretty good, 2.37 ERA in his last 3 starts. So Cincinnati definitely trending right now big time to the under, 7-1 to the under their last 8 games following a loss. Also, 2-8 to the under in their last 10 games as an underdog. They are definitely a slight underdog here, but Keller has been having a tendency to go over. But both these pitchers, Mindy, under in each of their last 3 starts. I certainly would like a little bit. I don't know. I don't think it's going to go up to 7.5. I think I'm kind of stuck with this one. I think I want to agree with you here, especially since I don't know. Yesterday, you seemed to have this game nailed when I was on the Reds and you were on the Bucks, and now you want to come in on the Reds. So let's make that a consensus play and go with the Reds today on the road.
Get it, Reds.
With Green in a good pitching matchup. Latifa asked, will we be talking NHL preseason? And I will tell you that I do have, at the end of the show, 2 plays in the NHL preseason. I'm not ready to go any premium yet. I'm just throwing out some, small recommendations, see how I fare with my preseason ratings, which are a little bit different than my regular season ratings. So I will have that. And Latifa also liked the game last night. He gave it 3 stars. All right, we're in on that one for a premium. Okay, next up, your Royals and Greinke on the road. You know how I feel about Greinke. I'm still behind him, but mostly at home. He's going to go up against Wentz here, and looks like right now Wentz is the slight favorite at $1.15 or so, and the total I'm showing this total now is down to 7.5 over 15.
Very interesting. The Tigers, they took 2 of 3 in the last series here. Greinke, 4-9, 4.21 ERA, 4.7 ERA in his last 3 starts here. But Greinke, he's actually 3-8 with a 2.95 ERA versus those Tigers. Wentz is making his 6th start. He's 2-2 with a 3.13 ERA. But 2-1 in his last 3 with a 1.11 ERA. He's been pretty decent in his last 3 starts here, but hasn't been necessarily, I think really good on the road. I'm looking here for those Royals bats here to fire back, like they took care of those Mariners in that 13-12 come from behind victory here. I'm going to take the Royals today with Greinke on the mound. Oh, Ramon, you got mute maybe?
Well, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't mind that actually, but I just worry about Greinke on the road. I want to get behind you on that, but I think the total dipping down, I don't buy that really at all. because of some of Greinke's struggles, I think, a bit. So I'm going to end up going over in this one. Now that it's down to 7.5, I know it's juiced to the over, but I kind of liked over at 8. And so I've got to consider it now, especially down to 7.5. And my play is going to be on the over in this one. A lot of trends do say under the way these teams are going. But again, and this move is definitely moving under. So if you like it, I don't mind that. But I already had graded it. My grading came in at somewhere closer to 8. So yeah, thanks, Latifa. Smash the like and subscribe to Tony's Picks YouTube channel. You all are already, but if you're new here, Tony's Picks, free picks every day here on Tony's Picks. A lot of free picks. Okay, Atlanta and Washington with Muller and Espino. This one was a little bit of a lack of information overnight, but I think we're pretty solid on it now with Muller being a pretty big favorite here. He might even be up higher than 220 at this point, maybe even 225. But the total right now is very solid at 9 under 30. But what do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, the way I looked at it when I had this, it looked like kind of more of a Braves bullpen game, but the Braves still scoring 4.9 runs here per game. It's just kind of one of those things that, I don't know if you can ever really count those Braves out of anything here. Espino, on the other hand, he's 0-7 with a 4.17 ERA. I'm sure that's a lot of the reason there for that minus 220. Washington's bullpen, they give up 5.37 runs, here per game. I'm going to look at the total, though. I don't really like giving out that minus 220, kind of too big for me. If you prefer to play it, that's something that you probably want to do maybe in a money line parlay, something like that. But I'm looking over 9 here today with this one.
All right. Yeah, that's a lot of runs. Maybe the pitching plans were changed up a little bit, and this one creeps up to 9. That kind of worries me. Me and my Washington team. I always like to kind of get involved with these guys, and I might look to take some runs here. I want to see what I can get if I get
2.
I'm thinking about like 2.5. If I see what the line is on the 2.5 runs here. Minus $1.45. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Washington plus 2.5. That wouldn't have worked yesterday because Atlanta smashed. But I'll try them today. I've had some success here, obviously, with Washington on the show. So, Muller, obviously, it may be a bullpen game just because he has not been faring very well so far. And Espino has been, pretty solid now. He's, made 17 starts this season. He's got a reasonable ERA over his last few games, 3.21 over the last 3 starts. And Muller, we know, certainly, work in progress at this point. So maybe the Braves will end up going into that bullpen. So, okay, let's take a look now with the New York Yankees and Jameson Taillon going up against Jose Barrios of Toronto. And let's make sure that one looks right with Toronto. I'm showing right now about more like a pick'em, maybe a slight favoritism now on the Yankees, and but this total certainly about 8 under 20.
Yeah, so Taillon, he's looking at his 10th career start versus those Jays. He's 4-4 with a 3.72 ERA, but 3-0 in his last 3 starts with a 1.8 ERA. Barrios is looking to his 9th start overall here versus those Yankees. He's 3-3 with a 4.74 ERA. Last 3 starts, he's 1-1 with a 5.65 ERA. To me, I'm going to go ahead and look again here at the total. I'm going to go over the 8 runs.
Well, I definitely think you're getting the best of this because it seems like the move has been steady to the under. In fact, I'd say the market actually has some split right now that we're starting to see some 7.5 overs come into play. So you probably could shop and get the best of that line. But I think for me, it's going to be about Toronto here. I don't know. To me, I think Toronto, they play much better at home. Obviously, and they're also very strong right now. Well, they're not favored, but I don't know. I mean, with the Yankee, oh man, this game is tough. I don't. I'm gonna go Toronto for a free play. I don't know if for me it's a coin flip. See if I can get some help in the chat. I might phone a friend. Sebastian, good morning.
Lifeline for Ramon.
Yeah, no, I'll just take Toronto with Barrios. I don't know. It's an even matchup. Certainly, the Yankees, are hot right now. 7-1 their last 8 games. I mean, it's hard to fade these guys really at this point. But in Toronto, I'll still take the Jays today.
There you got some chat help.
Miami and the Mets. Pablo Lopez going up against Hector Carrasco. Carrasco, big favorite here. $2. 7 under 15.
Yeah, Lopez, he's 5-5 with a 3.15 ERA on the road. Bullpen, they're sitting at 4.16 runs per game here. Carrasco for the Mets, he's 9-2, 3.21 ERA. While the bullpen is doing much better, 3.80 runs per game. Mets are scoring the fourth most here, the most runs. I think I kind of got to go over the total here again, just because I have that big money line that I don't really like to mess with. And those Mets have been struggling on the run line. That's the only thing that kind of gives me pause there with that. So I'm going to go over 7.
Well, I'm going to just lay the chalk. I don't care if it's $2. I'm not going to play the run line, but I think the Mets will win this one.
Yeah.
2-1, it's free play. Not terrific, but hey, I give you plenty of dogs. I'm not out here just laying $2 favorites every day, but I'm gonna right now with Carrasco. I'll lay $2 with the Mets here against Miami. Mets obviously playing well again, 8-2 in their last 10 games, and Miami 2-8 their last 10 on the road. Feels like a safe play. I'll take the Mets on the money line. You can lay the run line if you want.
Of course.
Baltimore, it's Box. So some team named Box. I don't know. They're playing Jack in the Box or. All right, here we go. Baltimore and Boston. It's going to be Bradish and Waka. And Waka is grabbing the favoritism here. Maybe he's down to about $1.25 now. And I'm showing the total actually creeping up to 9 under 15.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was looking, in this one as well. I don't really have, too much regarding either of the pitchers. I think that could kind of go either way here. So yeah, I was looking for the over total again, kind of like yesterday. I don't think there's going to be any slowing here at the bats.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you can still get those 8.5s, Mindy. I don't mean to just change the line on you,
All right.
but you will be paying some juice certainly on this one if you indeed do that. I kind of agree, but I don't think I agree strongly enough to want to go over 9 runs, knowing that I need 10 runs to win. So I think for me, it's going to be Boston today. I know the boss likes Baltimore in this matchup. I lost yesterday with Boston, and I'm still going to play Boston again today against Baltimore with Waka.
Waka Waka.
Waka Waka Flame. And Crush coming in here, Orioles and under. So complete fade of you and I in this one. Okay. I lost yesterday with them, so okay. Let's come in now with St. Louis and Milwaukee. Sounds like a good game to drink a beer and watch. St. Louis on the road here with Nicholas. He's about $1.15, and this total is 8.5 now. Maybe it's ticking up it's been moving up. It opened closer to 8. Now it's 8.5. Shows 8.5 there, under 15, but now it's almost 8.5 flat.
Yeah, and that's because Mikolas, I think he's kind of been shelled as of late. He's had a 3.35 ERA, and then of course Hauser, he's been pretty, inconsistent as at best with his 4.62 ERA. I thought that the total initially was set way too low here in this one. I think that's why I'm gonna still continue to go over here in this one today.
I'm seeing a pattern develop here. Mindy likes a lot of runs. Uh, I
Today,
think
yeah, it
it
seems
would
like
be
it.
safe to say that Mindy would probably be going over in the Grand Salami today, if you so desire. A play with the run total in each and every game. I didn't look to see what it was, but maybe we'll have to take a look at that for Mindy. Uh, yeah, I think for me, I'm going to go with Milwaukee here. I like Milwaukee as a pretty strong play with Hauser. I think the pitching matchup might be a bit even. A little bit concerned because St. Louis, certainly still playing well. Certainly an important game, but I will mention that St. Louis just 3-9 in Michaelis's last 12 starts. So for me, I'm going to come in with the Milwaukee Brewers and Hauser. All right, that's a look so far at kind of the through 8 p.m., if you will. But now Houston, let's see what we got. Oh, let me get a comment up here from Crush before we move on. He's like, Brewers in the over. So all of a sudden he's
That's
back.
perfect.
Okay, well, you're all right with us now, Crush. You're back on board with us there. Okay, next up. Oh no, I've got still. I'm going to look at a couple more here. How about Philadelphia and Wheeler going up against the Cubs and Stroman? Wheeler, big favorite here. Philadelphia on a push, probably down to about 165 or so, and now I'm showing the total at 6.5 over 20.
Yeah, I mean, even though the Phillies have won only 3 of their last 10 games, I think they're still going to be on the move here. They got Wheeler on the mound, 11-7 with 2.98 ERA. He has a 3.98 ERA versus those Cubs. And then you have Stroman. He's 4-7 with a 3.80 ERA, 2.94 ERA versus the Phillies. Phillies really need to win here. I'm going to take them on the money line. Agree with Latifa.
Okay, you guys are on the Phillies. Does worry me. Pretty big price, but I mean, we know the Phillies have a lot to play for still right now. So, but for me, look, I know it says 6. I just moved the line for myself to make it more convenient because I want to go over, but I'll go over 7 runs just to be
Gotcha.
fair to everyone. I'm getting a pretty good price though if I go over 7. And
Ramon's coming in with the over.
I'm coming in with the over, believe it or not, in this one with Wheeler and Stroman. Look, I try to sell you on Stroman every chance I get that he's still got something left, that he goes out there, and hard to go necessarily against Wheeler, who definitely can be extremely effective at times, but he is on the road here, so I think that's one of the factors for me as well. But also, you look at how these two pitchers have performed of late. Wheeler's ERA is close to 6 in his last 3 starts, and Stroman 4.24 ERA in his last 3 starts. And the Philly bullpen struggling right now with a 6.31 ERA over the last 10 games. So for me, I am going over. And Mindy said Wheeler and the Phils. All right. Oh, lost my place there. Here we go. The Chicago White Sox. Now we're wrapping up this group of games. The White Sox with Lance Lynn on the road here. Yes, a 120 favorite. And I'm showing another total dropping down to 6.5, Mindy, right now. 6.5 over 20 at several books. This one looks like it is moving lower.
Yeah, so they must be looking at the Lynn of late, right? Because Lynn struggled in his first 2 outings versus these Twins. He's 0-1 with a 9.96 ERA, but he has an ERA under 2 here as of late in September. He's made 9 starts this season. Just 2 starts, though, since June. He's been kind of dinged up, been off and on the IL this year. But in September, he's 0-1 with a 2.70 ERA. So those ERAs have been pretty low here in September for these 2 pitchers. So it could be a little bit of the reason why you see a little bit of drop in that line. But for me, I'm going to take Lynn in this one. I'm going to go White Sox on the money line.
Okay, and I'll do the same thing as I did last game. I know I just moved the line to 6.5. I liked it at over 7. Latifa agrees with you. Mindy, on Chicago White Sox, but I will go
Are we going
over,
to
and I'll
see the
go over
over?
7.
Yeah.
I'll go over 7. I mean, I'm going to get an even price, probably even, maybe minus $1.05, probably more like even money now. So I've got another over here as they keep lowering these totals.
Keep
Look,
them
I mean,
going.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know it seems out of character for me a little bit to take some of these overs, but also in general, I think in late September, things can get a little bit loose on the offensive end. Uh, you know, you got younger pitchers coming up. It's a little bit different this year because it's not necessarily a 40-man roster anymore. They don't have the massive call ups. They try to keep things fair for everybody. So, you do see more movement, I think, between players being pulled up and sent back down, but uh, or not sent back down. I mean, the minors are in the playoffs and everything, but just whenever they need them. So on that 28-man roster. So let's look at the next one with Houston hosting Arizona. This is Zach Davies, big underdog here. McCullers on the road. Maybe it's down to 215. Yeah, 215 right there. And this total sits at about 8.
Yeah, I mean, Davies hasn't really factored into many decisions this year for these Diamondbacks. He's only 2-4 with a 4.40 ERA. McCullers, on the other hand, he's 4-1, 2.3 ERA here. And, you know, I mean, what can you say about
Isn't that
Houston?
amazing?
They still,
25 starts, Mindy, and he's got a 2-4 record.
right? I mean, how does that even possible? Like, just, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, but sometimes, I think he struggles a little bit. McCullers does, with command and control. Sometimes he's a little bit messy for a minus 215 here, though. Even though the Astros, geez, up and down the line, their lineup, I mean, they're great. They've hit 9 of 22 versus Davies, those Astros. But I don't know. I think the Diamondbacks here can go ahead and keep this one close. I have this one modeled out 3.57 Diamondbacks, 4.37 Astros. I'm going to take a Diamondbacks here on the run line at plus 1.5 runs, 1.5 runs.
Okay. Yeah, McCullers has been the better pitcher of late than Davies, but I know what you're saying there. And look, if anything, it's been a case of kind of that Davies pitches usually in tough matchups with opposing pitchers, and then that gets in that bullpen. But credit right now, Arizona bullpen pitching pretty decent. Both teams have an ERA under 3 over the last 10 games coming out of the bullpen. Latifa agrees with you. I don't know if she's on the money line or if she just wants to take that run line with you, but she's on Arizona here. For me, I like the over. I really preferred the 7.5. I know it is 8 now, and it's not going down; it's going up, and so I'm not getting the best price here. But for me, I'm going to go over in the game between Arizona and Houston, and I'll have to go over 8, meaning I need 9 runs. That one's going to be tough to get. Would never qualify for a premium, so I'll give it out as a free play here.
Over, crush the over.
Okay, let's take a look at Oakland now. They're going up
Do we
against,
have to?
yeah, a little graphic issue here. Oakland and the Angels. Your Angels. Caprillion for Oakland. Sandoval for the Angels in this one. And yeah, Sandoval. I don't know, Mindy. It seems kind of questionable. A $2 favorite right now. I don't know if the Angels are all that. Sandoval's a nice pitcher and all. This total is about 8. Maybe it's even shaded to the over.
I mean, of course, I want to take Sandoval at a minus 200. I mean, doesn't that kind of seem like a sure thing? I don't know. Caprillion, he's 4-9, 4.43 ERA. Sandoval, 6-9, 3.01 ERA. Oakland, for as bad as they've been, they're still 4-0 to the over versus the Angels. Angels are 4-1 to the over versus Oakland. I'm hitting the over, Ramon, over 8 in this one here today.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I don't know if I can get behind it necessarily, but my lean would be, I think, to the over with this one. Just concerned because these guys are probably pitching as well as they have all season right now. Especially Caprilion's got an ERA under 2 in his last 3 starts. So I'm going to have to take Oakland. I think it'll probably be on the run line here. I don't think I
Okay.
can necessarily. Like I said, I to me it just stands out to the $2 favorite, the Angel. I mean,
Yeah,
these
that's
guys
a
aren't
high, isn't
like
it?
a
Jeez.
playoff team or anything. And
I know,
yes,
minus
Oakland is
200 for Sandoval. Ooh.
yeah, Oakland is awful. But look, the Angels are still 20 games under 500 too. So I'll take Oakland on the run line here with Caprillion. All right, got to the Dodgers and the Padres. Ramon against Tony, but
That's right.
we'll see what happens. Uh, Snell's been great. I mean, he's all of a sudden he's been so inconsistent. Now the Padres are going to have to rely on him in the playoffs. So that's not a comfortable feeling for me, but he's giving me a little bit of confidence of late because of how well he's been pitching. If he can pitch like he has been, I will gladly take him in a playoff start. The Padres will have Darvish and Snell if they end up going against, the Cardinals or the Braves. So I give them a chance to maybe win the playoff series with those two pitchers. They definitely can contend in the two first games, even if they are on the road. So, but Anderson here still is going to come a slight favorite at $1.15, and the total 7.5. A little bit dropping here, 7.5 over 15.
Yeah, I mean, Yu Darvish has become my favorite pitcher this season. Just been totally on fire. I mean, just the command that he has been, showing on the mound has been pretty impressive, I think. But on the other hand, you have Tyler Anderson. He's probably having maybe arguably the best year of his career.
Oh,
He's
for
15
sure.
and 4. 2.52 ERA. Like you said with Snell, he's 1-1 versus the Dodgers with a 2.86 ERA. I think the Padres, they really need to keep this 3-game lead that they have over the Brewers. The Brewers have that tough matchup with the Cardinals. So it's going to be good how this one, I think, comes out. I think the Dodgers ultimately have dominated the Padres this season. But I just think Padres here, they're going to pull this one off. I look for them to get this money line play here tonight. I'm going San Diego.
Okay,
The
great.
Fighting Ramones.
I'm glad you're taking them. I hope they do take it. I think for me, I'm nowhere on the side on this game. Yes, the Padres have a lot to play for, and the Dodgers may be in cruise control. But uh, Anderson, like you said, I mean, he continues to excel. A 1.35 ERA in his last three starts has just absolutely been terrific. He's a 15-game winner now. The Dodgers are 20-6 in his starts, while I'm talking about Snell, how good he's been, and he's definitely been very, very good of late. But he's still 8-14. The Padres are 8-14 in his starts, so that does bother me a little bit to get behind the Padres here. But I'll go under. I think with these
Under.
two
You're breaking our
lefties.
streak?
Well, I think just think with these two lefties in San Diego. I already said it to you, Mindy. The weather.
It's
Is
getting
definitely
colder. Yeah.
we got a little warmer again over the last few days, but when you get into the night games, now we're in September. I see this one pitchers duel all the way. I'm going to go with the under in
Cool.
Dodgers and Padres.
All right.
Okay, Texas and Seattle now. This is going to be Tinoco going up against sounds like like a gas
Oh,
station,
yes. Yes.
right?
Yes. The
Texas
Sunoco
Tinoco.
fuel. Yeah.
Texas Tinoco is guy might have okay, and going up against Robbie Ray, big favorite here for Robbie Ray. He's down to about $1.95 total, 7.5 under 20.
Ramon, are you a NASCAR fan? We've never
Yes.
discussed NASCAR with you.
Well, because really we only offer matchups here at
Yeah.
Tony's Picks, and
But just in general. Do you like
yeah, oh no,
NASCAR?
oh for sure.
Yeah, me too. We were kind of raised on NASCAR, So yeah, I was just wondering. We never officially talked about it. Yeah, but
I
Robbie
usually
Ray.
play NASCAR, daily fantasy NASCAR
Oh,
is
do you
kind of my
really?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
So I go
like.
to the Kansas Speedway a lot, even though that track's not very fun. It's too big, so not a lot happens. You just have to hope for a tire blowout or someone runs out of
No,
gas.
that's terrible.
I know. I want something like the bull ring where there's lots of action. Like 25 cautions, something like that. But yeah, we got the Rangers versus the Mariners. Robbie Ray, he's 2-0 with a 3.55 ERA versus the Rangers, while Tinoco To me, it kind of looks like with him on the mound might be another, kind of bullpen day. He has a 4.93 ERA for the season. It's one of those, like, I don't like, these big money lines either, but I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to take Ray at the minus 195.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we always, there's nothing wrong. People are always going to say they're going to opt for taking that run line, and never, if you lay $2, you're going to. But again, I mean, a price is a price, and you're just as deadly if you take a big underdog sometimes as you would laying the big price. So I don't know. For me, yes, I mean, this is definitely a bullpen game situation. I don't think we're expecting much out of Mr. Tinoco as far as going deep. I think it's kind of listed as a bullpen game. I don't know. I kind of would tend to lean towards uh, Texas and the price there, but I don't necessarily want to go against that. So I'm going to go over in the game in this one. Ray has definitely been back to struggling a bit now. So he was bad, he was good, now he's bad again. 5 ERA in his last 3 starts. So also Texas bullpen, 5 ERA over the last 10 games. I will go over in this one. And we're going to wrap it up with Colorado and San Francisco, Marquez and Webb. Webb, a considerable favorite here, going higher. It looks like maybe even as high as 190 now. And the total, 7/20.
Yeah, the Giants, they're still playing well. Even though they'll probably be eliminated from contention this season here later in the week. Rockies have lost the last 6 of 7. San Francisco has won their last 6 and 7. Marquez has been, I don't know, maybe terrible, a 6.29 ERA in September, 8 wins, 12 losses. Webb's coming off the 5 scoreless innings, 14-9 with a 2.93 ERA. Give me the Giants on the run line here, minus 1.5 runs.
All right. Look, I mean, a lot to say about this one going under for me. This is my play is going to be under with these two. You mentioned, the success of Logan Webb this season with an ERA under 3 this season. Colorado, they've gone under in 7 of their last 8 off of a loss. Also, 3 of their last 12, 9 of their last 12 overall have gone under, and for San Francisco, they've gone under in 15 of their last 21, and they seem to go under quite a bit with Webb, and also this series has been going under. So I'll take under. I graded it out at a 6.5. I think there were actually some 6.5s, and now that it's 7. Did I say juice to the over? 7. Wow, great price for me. Probably should be a premium, but I'm going to give it out here as our play. One consensus play, Mindy. I think
Reds.
Yeah, I'm sorry about. I wish we had more. Again, I mean, we like to give one, a play on each if we can, and I kind of monitor what Mindy has and try to give you multiple selections here and kind of resort to giving that consensus play when we're on the same side, and maybe I'm not as solid on the total or the side on my opinion with the other game. Look, a lot of people say, "Oh well, you can play," but when you're a numbers person, right, you usually can find one way or the other that you think you're on the other on one side or the other, because the number really, yes, you can get it exactly right and just say, "Hey, I agree with the number," but I don't agree with the number usually because the number fluctuates, and a lot of times my rating will stay the same. Unless it's adjusted because of an injury, for example, or some breaking news that would change it. But if I've like a game to go, if I've got it graded as a 7 and the line goes up to 7.5, I've got to go under. That's why I'm not going to just say I'm still don't like the game. If it goes up a half a run, I mean, I've got to consider it. That's a look at Major League Baseball for Tuesday. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for your comments on baseball. Now, get your pens, pencils, and rotations ready. We're going to start our football coverage for the week. Like I said yesterday, Tony already had some video previews up for some of the games on Saturday, but we're going to look at Thursday, the one game, and also Friday. There are 4 games, including several out west. So let's get right into it with a little bit of a rivalry matchup between Utah State and BYU. We're seeing BYU here, Mindy, pretty massive favorite in this one, and the total 61.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be another one of those. How many points can BYU score in this game? I mean, Aggies have just looked terrible on kind of both sides of the ball, if you ask me. 101st in total offense. I don't know, out of what, 108 teams, something like that.
4 against the spread. I mean, one of the worst teams in the country spread wise. I mean, obviously.
But I'm going to look to the total in this one. I'm going to go under. The under's 5-0 in the last 5 overall here for the Aggies. Like I said, we know BYU is going to score. Just depends if Utah State gets a score in there or so, depending on how this one's going to look. But I'm going to go under 60.
Okay. Yeah. No, like I said, well, yeah, I guess it is 60. I said 61 because
I think it's 60.
But I think it has gone lower here. And well, Mindy, let's just start off. Start off by disagreeing, shall we? I'll go over in this one. So we're not having a consensus play on this one. I think BYU might be able to put up a number here, and maybe Utah can get some on the back end as well. I'll go over, not to just go against you, but
it's a bet at your own risk.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably of the 6 games we're going to talk about, probably the least confident of any of the games I think so far, and maybe just maybe I have a premium on the side. So
perhaps.
Okay, I won't talk about it too much. I want to put my hand. Okay, Houston here now. We know Houston slight favorite, just 2.5. That would have been unthinkable.
Yeah, unthinkable.
In recent memory, but right now Tulane looking pretty solid with their 3-1 record so far, and Houston obviously just a 1-3 spread record so far. So total 55.
Yeah, so this one's been, I think it just seems a little tricky, right? I mean, Tulane, they've played well. Houston, they've been struggling. Tulane, it does well statistically in most categories, but it's whether or not am I sold on this, Tulane team moving forward. I think I might be in their 451 yards of total offense. I'm going to take Tulane and the plus points in this one.
Well, I mean, if you're thinking about, who's been covering, that would be the way to look. But I think for me, Mindy, I'm going to go under in this game. I think, I don't know, that's where my concern would be.
Yep.
I think with Tulane
I like that.
Maybe scoring a bit. So you're going to need them to step up, I think, a little bit, because they're going to have to come close to, winning the game, obviously.
Yep.
But I'm going to go under in this one. Houston obviously not producing right now, not Houston-like so far, right? So I'll take under, and yeah, I think it's even 54.5. I'm going to play it. It says 55 on the screen. I'm not one of those guys. I'll take under 54.5 just to be fair, because I think pretty much market wide now we're seeing it go down to 54.5. UTSA is going to be a favorite here on the road. This one has moved, however, in the direction of Middle Tennessee. I show UTSA opening as high as 5.5 or so, and this total is at 62.5. That's down from an opener of 63.
I mean, yes, of course, Middle Tennessee, the money is going to start to go on them. I mean, they had their first ranked win, I guess, or their first win over a ranked team in history, beating Miami. Did not see that coming, just saying. But it's on the other hand, they're 13-5, last 8 road games, 7-3 against the spread in the last 10. Middle Tennessee here, they're also 5-1 against the spread. But I just think Texas, San Antonio. I think they're just a little bit better team. And I think that, it could be one of those things. Middle Tennessee has a little bit of a letdown. I'm going to go with San Antonio here. I'm going to take them at the -4.
Let's play a consensus play with UTSA.
All right.
I was going to have a graphic soon or something that shows when we're on a consent, make the screen flash or something. Maybe just a banner at the bottom that says consensus play or something like that.
Consensus
Yeah,
team play.
maybe it's going to be a letdown for Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, I think it might.
Again, the move's on Middle Tennessee. I mean, we're fading the move here, I think, a little bit, which, always disturbs me somewhat, but I agree. I mean, I really thought they'd be more of a touchdown favorite. Or, well, I don't know if I really thought they'd be a touchdown. For me, they're about at least a touchdown favorite. So I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. And I like UTSA here. I think they're the better spot. I mean, for me, I kind of agree with that premise about the after Middle coming up with that win. So let's go a consensus play here. Let's lay 4 points on the road with the Road Runners. Meep meep. Okay, San Diego State. They're going to take on Boise State. Somehow they were able to get it done in that game. I don't know. I think I gave the right synopsis on that game as far as Toledo coming in with a lot of defense. They pretty much held San Diego State. They had the 2 late scores. Both teams ended up scoring late, and it was really going under, and it went under all the way. Probably another low-scoring game expected here when you see Boise favored by 6 and the total 39.
Yeah, so for me, I like where this one is going because it opened at plus or -5.5. So more is going there on Boise. It's kind of one of those, like, I don't really know what to think about this San Diego State team at times. I really like them. I love how they run the ball. But they're 1-3-1 in their last 5 against the spread on the road. But then you got this Boise State team that's like just reeling out of control. Maybe there might be a coaching change up there too. Boise's 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 home games. Like I said, I like that 20th ranked rushing offense for San Diego State. I'm going to take them at the +6.
Okay, that sounds fair enough. Yeah, they've got to step it up. Look, the scoring does worry me a little bit, but I think in this one there might be a little more speed involved in this game. San Diego is tough. It's a struggle right now for them to score, but I think this might be one of their best chances to get some things done. I mean, obviously, there's lots of concerns with Boise. They might be a false favorite here, like you said. Now you're getting that extra half a point or so. I'm going to go over 39. It's against my better judgment because when I see the San Diego State, I'm not impressed necessarily what I see, but more of a market handicap here. I think the sharps are on the over here. A lot of times that'll get me burned. Tailing them a little bit when against my better judgment, but it just seems like such a strong, sharp action play on the over. So that's what I'm going to take is the over in that game. Okay, Washington and UCLA is next, and Washington is going to be a favorite here on the road at -3. I'm going to adjust that. It's a juiced up 3 or so. Maybe it can get to 3.5. Maybe you will see some 3.5s out there. But right now I'm going to call it Washington -3, -115, and the total is 66.
Yeah, I mean, I think both teams are playing, really well this season. Huskies are 4-0 in the last 4 overall against the spread in Friday games, while the Bruins, they're also 4-0 in their last 4 Friday games. But yeah, I mean, but you also take a look at UCLA. They're 7-16-1 notoriously in September. And then they run into this Washington team that put up 478 yards of total offense versus Stanford. I'm going to take Washington State at the -3. I know I've been reading it some places like this is going to be the big trap. I don't think it's going to be here so far. I'm going to take Washington.
I think the defense will come in this game. Both teams, look, you're not going to be undefeated without playing a little defense. And I think this will be, when you're talking to both teams coming in with that 4-0, you mentioned it, Mindy. So for me, I think that's it indicates that, it's not necessarily going to be tough for these teams to score. I mean, the total is very, very high at 66, but I think these teams have done well this season. Maybe they're even uh, exceeding expectations. I know that expectations
Yes.
are high for both teams considering their conference. I don't think that we can say their expectations are overly high, but I like the under in this one. Under for the Huskies, 6 of their last 7 against a team with a winning record when they play at home, meaning UCLA, a winning record at home. So I'm going to go under 66. Washington and UCLA more defensive game than what people are expecting. And finally, it's going to be New Mexico and UNLV. Wow, UNLV has dropped here. They opened as high as I think 16, so definitely action coming in on the Lobos here. The total is 44.5.
Yeah, so this is one that I thought was my most difficult game of the Friday nights. I thought New Mexico would play a little bit better versus LSU. Maybe I was wrong there, but they do have a nice 2-2 start to the season. UNLV, they're looking, I think, okay here. So, they're looking to move forward off of a 3-1 start with a win over Utah State. I just again, I think this one for me is probably my hardest one to handicap, but I'm going to give the edge here to UNLV at home. I think they can cover the minus 14, the 2 touchdowns here versus New Mexico. New Mexico is one that struggled, like versus Boise State. The only reason why Boise State didn't cover the spread is because of Ramon's guy from his hometown there that ran that touchdown back the kickoff return. So I'm gonna look at UNLV here to cover the spread.
And if they're going to be getting laying a big number like that, they'll probably need some points. That kind of worries me because I think there are a lot of trends that kind of say that under might be the call here. Look, it's a very low number, but I'm not sure that. That's what worries
I
me a
think that's
little bit
like
about UNLV covering 2 touchdowns. I think.
because it would have to be New Mexico having what, 7 points. Is that what they're expecting? Something like that.
Yeah, well, you got to figure maybe something around like 28-14 would be something that could be very close to that number right now. So if you're going to be right and I'm going to be right, I'm going to need it to be like 28-10. So yeah, I'm going to need New Mexico maybe to not produce, but that's what I'm saying is I'm going to end up going under. New Mexico's been a solid under. They're going under this season. They went under late last season, so just a lot of numbers point to an under for New Mexico. Vegas is trending more to the over, but there's a lot of numbers that say New Mexico is not really up to producing in this spot. So I will go under in the New Mexico UNLV game. Leaves us with one premium, Mindy, for football
It
on
happens.
Thursday and Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I mean, there's no sense in us, forcing it. Again, we feel like we're giving you our best plays, and that's what our job is here to do. Not necessarily always agree, but giving the edge to what we think is the better play.
yeah, and there will be plenty more consensus, I'm sure, even though we're light today. Uh,
Yes.
there's a huge football card, and come tomorrow, we will look at that. Start with that Saturday card. Again, this was Thursday and Friday, so we'll get into tomorrow. It is a little bit lighter. I don't say lighter. I mean, maybe not as big as last week by a couple of games. As teams start to get into conference play, you're seeing less FBS versus FCS type of competition. So, All right, Latifa wanted some NHL preseason. I see a lot of moves coming in, and a lot of my market handicap in the preseason is based on the moves. So, I kind of want to add to my card a little bit, but I didn't have time as the moves have been kind of rolling in here. So let me just give. I like Pittsburgh. They're laying $2. I know it's a preseason game, but Detroit, all indications are they're not going to be. They're going to be a little bit thin as far as some of their top personnel playing. Pittsburgh will be a considerable favorite here at $2. So that's my free play right now. Lay $2 in an NHL preseason game with Pittsburgh. But just to counter that a little bit, I do like another favorite here, Winnipeg at home against Ottawa. Yeah, I'm
Jets,
going to
Jets,
scratch that.
Jets.
Yeah, I'm going to scratch that. I'm just going to go with the one play. Latifa, I've got Pittsburgh. That's what I've got. I want to come with more, but I'll have to figure out a way, again, I've got to look at some of these moves that have come in because it is preseason, and a lot of it's just been rolling in within the last hour or so as we've been on the air. Maybe I'll have some premium because some of these moves look absolutely sharp. And again, who has time to go through an NHL, preseason strategies and who's going to play and who's not? A lot of times it's about the numbers for me on these preseason games. So we're going to, develop more preseason numbers as we go along because we're just getting started in the NHL preseason. So me and Latifa have a consensus play for me and
Mark it
Latifa.
down.
Lay the Penguin price at $2 or so. Not thrilled about it. There's a lot more interesting spots on the card possibly. So, all right, Mindy, great show, great job. Got through in about an hour with Major League Baseball
I'm gonna
and
see if I can get my big dog up here so
say
everyone
hello
can
to
see
the
this.
big
The
dog.
big dog.
And also, we'll
Are you
take a
gonna
look
show?
over
There
at
she goes.
Tony'sPicks.com, where Mindy and her crew over there, her handicapping crew that's with her in the room, went 3-1-1 yesterday. So take a look at the handicapper leaderboards over at Tony'sPicks.com. You'll see some good numbers yesterday from our crew. But Mindy and I, with our one consensus play, so maybe we'll repeat that performance today.
That's right.
Again, our consensus play is on the Cincinnati Reds against Pittsburgh with Hunter Green on the mound on Tuesday. So you could check out those handicapper leaderboards. Also, the 2-for-1 capper promotion where you can match up Mindy and I. Maybe how about hooking up for the week? You're welcome to just use our free plays. That's fine. But if you want to get our premium plays for the next 7 days, you can team us up over at Tony'sPicks.com and use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save off of that price right there that you see. You pay for one handicapper, you get the second handicapper at half price. Or don't forget now, all of our individual packages. Let's go to the premium pick section, Mindy, because all of our daily premium pick packages are now profit guaranteed. So if you pick up from us a one game, a solo game, a 3-pack, a 5-pack, if we don't show profit in that package, you get credits back to your Tony's account. So you're not gonna sit there and if it has a rough day, if we have a rough day and say what happened, you're going to be able to hook up with another handicapper and pick up some more plays the next day, if you will. So see all the plays over there. Lots of people with their $15 best bets going today. Tiffany and Nick also as well. You got Ben coming in with a 3-pack. So lots of premium plays over there at Tony'sPicks.com. Mindy's got her Major League Baseball best bet as well. You can click on the tab, see all the best bets from the crew, and also all the $15 picks from the crew as well. All right, Mindy, great job. We'll catch up with you again tomorrow for more baseball coverage. And that dog is tall.
Yes, she's big, but she wants to be a lap dog. But she's too heavy.
That camera
But she
angle.
doesn't get all of the showtime as the other two because they're really tiny. So this is Juno. Juneau from Juneau, Alaska. Big white dog. But yeah, it's a white dog, even though it's a golden doodle.
All right, thanks everyone in the comments in the chat. We love having you. We love all your comments and all your picks as well. So make sure you get your picks in. You can also enter them in down below in the chat. We look at them all and get your information there as well. We appreciate it very much. For Mindy Hahn, I'm Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.